Hello, and welcome to another episode of Freeth TV. I'm your host this evening, Burke Harbin, and this evening's episode has to do with the question, what is heathenry, and what does it mean to you? And so we could start off with the very textbook, or in this case, a handbook definition of heathenry, which would be the indigenous pre-Christian religion of the Northern European peoples. And you could go a little bit more specific with that and say the pre-Christian Germanic peoples of Northern Europe. However, what you will find when you read books, and I'm a guy who's read a lot of books, is that you can find a lot of information in these books about heathenry, but you will never find heathenry in these books. Where you're going to find heathenry is two places. You find heathenry in your heart, and you'll find heathenry outside.
So as far as what heathenry means to me, it's about nature for the most part. It feels natural. So many people, like when I first started studying this and became aware of heathenry, what it meant to be heathen, I felt at home. And I'm a country boy from Texas, and where land is very important to me. And so nature is part of that. Heathenry, it's a natural fact where you have these connections. We talked about the landlights, the spirits of the land. In other videos, you can talk about the elves and how the ancestors who were buried into the mounds became the intercessors of the families with the landlights for the productivity of the land and how that connects to the God in prayer. And the more you find out about heathenry, the more it feels natural. And part of this nature is with cycles, the cyclical nature. Right now, we're here in spring. Everything is green. It's raining right now, and hopefully I get this filmed before the storm doors in. But there's this awareness in heathenry of the natural cycles, where you have birth, life, death, rebirth. And with the land, that's the season, that's the agricultural cycle. Or we see this also in family, kinline, how children are born, they grow up, they have a spring life cycle, and they die. So we naturally understand that there is something beyond death, that the spirit, the soul continues. Love conquers all, and that is part of the cycle. And then we are once again reborn into the kinline, the stories of Grimm. All these things are important, where the storks bring babies back into the kinline. And I see people in our families, like I have a niece, and is a spitting image physically of my mother's great aunt. I never meet by it. It's the people in my family who knew my great aunt Willie and know my niece Katie. They are the same. They're the same person. They have the same mannerisms. They look alike, they laugh alike, they smile alike, all of these things. And so our ancestors recognized these cycles both in nature and in the family. And hatred, being at home, peace, free, and not being at odds with things. That's what heathenry means to me. It means peace with it.
Now I would like to show you a clip by Terry Unger, who is the Gothi of Frigisfolk Kindred down in League City on the coast by Galveston. He is also a heathen author, so let's hear what Terry has to say.
What, to me, does heathenry mean, and how do you go about being a heathen, or pagan for that matter? Well, first of all, I believe that you have to be spiritually brave to be a heathen, especially when you're first starting your journey. And I'll tell you why. Unlike revealed religion, like Christianity, and I'm not knocking Christianity, but heathenry doesn't have books of doctrine and dogma to tell you what to do, how to think, how to behave, things like that. We don't have a salvationist doctrine where your adherence is what guarantees you into a nebulous kind of afterlife. We don't have any of that. So in the beginning, a heathen is, for some, it's kind of like walking a tightrope without a safety net, because there's no guarantees with heathenry that you may actually find what you're looking for. But I can guarantee you, if you hang in there, you will, one day or another. And why is that? Because heathenry, its essence of the essence of heathenry is animism. And animism is all about the connectedness of everything in the natural world. That means the rocks, the trees, the birds, the bees, you, me, and the gods are all connected, and we live in one world. The gods are not separate from it. They are part of the world that we live in. Now, the experience, here the thing is, of heathenry is the experiential itself. Heathenry, to understand all of this, takes experience. And it means not just reading a book. It's not memorizing lines from a poem in the Edda. It's certainly not running around a fire with a horn yelling, "Hail Odin." No. Heathenry means that experience that you can have in the natural world, your environment, the world around you. And there are tools if you are willing to look. We sometimes think of utiseta, which is spoken of with a certain amount of awe and reverence, because so much of the emphasis we have on that is what people used to do for some kind of spiritual guidance. They used to sit on somebody's grave at night. Well, that's not the full truth. The full truth is that it was a form of meditation that anybody could do. Now, usually the seers and so forth did a lot of this stuff, but today in our world, you can easily practice this. You can go outside, sit under a tree, take a walk. It's nothing more than focusing your head and maybe, let the birds talk to you a little. But heathenry is the experience, and the basis is animism. So the next time you want to know more about heathenry, go outside, sit in the quiet, and listen to the surroundings, and you'll begin to understand that all things are connected.
After hearing from Terry, let's hear a somewhat candid answer from my kinsman Josh down at his farm after Symbol, when he has had a little bit too much from the horn, or maybe he's had just enough.
What heathenry is, and what being a heathen means to me, is that the Christian, Judeo-Christian Bible talks about like everybody's a sinner, right? Being a heathen, there's no such thing. There's no sin. There's no guilt. You just are. You are who you are. And that was very liberating. Our gods never commanded. There was no thou shalt. There's no thou shalt not. We're not a people of dogma or doctrine. The closest thing that we have to commandments is the Havamol. And it's not really commandments. It's like saying, hey, these are some really good ideas. These are some wise words that you might want to think about. And I don't know how many people know how liberating that is, because I remember being a Christian and always thinking like, oh, I'm just not good enough. In the eyes of God, no matter how much I try, I'm not good enough. There's always this sense of guilt. There's always this sense of, I'm just not doing enough. I'm just not good enough. You know, being saved or whatever is not enough. I'm just not good enough in God's eyes. Being a heathen, I don't got to worry about that.
Yes, you do.
I don't got to worry about that at all, because the deal is, you know what? My gods are inside me. Okay, they're here. Not only are they out there, they're in here. I don't got to worry about that. I'm going to worry about our God's never commanded us shit. There's no thou shalt, there's no thou shalt not. Man, you do the best you goddamn can. And that's what I'm doing. I'm doing the best that I can.
Yes, sir.
I wake up every morning and I try to be the best version of myself that I can be. I think the gods respect that. And there's days when I think, you know, the gods may even not even know I exist, but you know what? It don't matter. Because I know I exist. I know I'm here, and I know I'm doing the best that I can. I'm trying to carry our way forward so that we shall not fail. That's what it means to me. It means being connected with I know it means being connected with the gods and goddesses of my ancestors. And that's really important to me.
So another friend of mine, David Ferguson from Folk Kindred, who I would really like to do some content on this show because he is a really, really genuine and knowledgeable speaker, is up on a job in the beautiful Ozarks of Missouri. So let's see what David has to say about the subject.
For starters, let me just introduce myself. My name is David Ferguson. I've been a heathen for somewhere between 10, 12, I don't know. Let's say at least a decade or so. I'm an active member of Folk Kindred in South Texas, Galveston County. And so this question that I've been asked is to describe heathenry, what it is to me. And I think it's a little bit of a loaded question, and it's hard. You know, I've been asked this a lot of times by my family, by friends, you know, and it's not hard to describe, but it's hard to get the real points across to some people. You know, I'll say first and foremost, I think being a heathen is a choice between worldviews, so to speak, accepting the world as it is and living within it in unity with its ups and downs, or denying this world, you know, like monotheistic faiths do. They tend to live out their lives and all in a race, it seems, or in a selfish type of manner of trying to get to heaven. You know, when I look around now and I see a version of heaven all around me. This world is what it is, and you can accept it or deny it. I do not believe this world is sinful. I believe it is what we make it through our own choices. Part of heathenry, I just want to say, is it's a way of life. It's not a dogmatic religion. There's no written laws that I have to obey. You know, it is a way of life. Everything from the loyalty and priority of your family, you know, family comes first in heathenry. I know people say that in Christianity, but heathenry, family means family. It is the first and foremost community that we have. You know, it's everything. Everything your actions do should be to better yourself and your family. Next to that, you have your kindreds. Everything that you do should better your kindred, your family, your kindred, and in a broader sense, the community of heathens that are out here. Heathenry also doesn't have a strict way to look at our gods. I personally don't see the gods as being as important as rather than what they mean as being more important. Our gods aren't just fantastical figures, sitting in some other realm. They are all around us. Their energies are all around us. Not only them, we have our ancestors that are buried within the lands that are all around us. I don't care where you're from or where you've been in life, your ancestors are buried in the ground in this earth, and they are part of that earth. Now, it also means that we have to connect to these sources, these gifts, right? Our ancestors went through hell and back in their lives. They made their choices and passed down their traditions, and we should keep those alive in their memory. As I was walking today, I saw a few things in nature that reminded me why we should connect with nature. Now, I'm not saying you should be a tree hugger, but there are reasons to have a reciprocal relationship with nature, and be thankful for it. Nature itself clothes us, it feeds us, it quenches our thirst. And this morning on my walk, I came across two little ladies out here in the middle of nowhere on these hiking trails, picking wild garlic, and that's just one reason that we should be thankful. Heathenry also gives us the tools and the freedom to start understanding, let's say, the realities of our universe, the world that we live in, and it opens the doors to personally connect with these energies, these spirits, if you will, whether it's in nature or our ancestors. We have to be conscious of the ties and bonds and relationships to everything in this world. That's part of the cycle. Heathenry is a journey, and everything in this universe goes through cycles. So our journey is just a part of that cycle. Our life is a part of that cycle. We're born and we die. There's no getting around it. But what you do in between determines whether or not you've lived a life worth living. And that's part of heathenry as well, is making sure your life was lived in a way that was worth living. Did you stand up for the right things? Did you make the right choices? Did you protect those you love and provide for your family? Family is paramount. Everything we do should be to better ourselves, our family, our kindred, and the world around us in the greater sense. We respect our ancestors for their gifts, the blood gift that was passed down through the generations. What else? And we have a duty to pass that gift down to our children, pass the traditions that we've been given down to our children as well. Now, what else? Let's see. I'm glad you're editing this, Burke. But there's so much that could be said about heathenry. It's living an honorable life, holding each other accountable, making sure that we're doing the right thing. And when somebody falls, or falls, and when somebody struggles with making the right choices or doing the right thing, it's about standing up and telling them, hey, straighten up. Excuse my language. Straighten us up a little bit, Mother Frigga, the earth herself. Why would we treat this earth with such disrespect when it provides for us so much? So what does it mean to be a heathen? To me, I don't know, it sounds cheesy. To me, it means everything. To me, it means everything all in one. It means sharing this world with my family. It means it is a way of life. It's a perspective of looking at the world. It's a perspective of looking at your own life and holding yourself accountable to those perspectives. It's not a dogmatic relationship, or it's not a dogmatic faith. All I can do is live a life worth living, live an honorable life, provide for my family, secure what I can with nature, build relationships with these spirits and these entities, and in doing so, live a full life, a heiliger life. That's something in heathenry I talk about a lot is a Heiliger life. Heiliger is a term that means balanced. I want to live a balanced, full life and enjoy as much as I can. And when the sorrows come, when hard times come, I want to face them head on. I'm not going to hide away from them or cower, on some street corner. I'm going to get my ass to work, and I'm going to do what I have to do to survive and to continue to provide for myself, my family, and those I love and care for around me. So heathenry it's simple from this side, but explaining it to someone that wants to know, it can get a little hairy at times. Like I said before, it's a choice. It's a choice we make. It's a world denying or world accepting view. And that in itself has a lot of deeper meaning to it, accepting this world as it is, and maybe there is a heaven for some people. Maybe there is a Valhalla for others. Maybe there is Folkvanger, a golden field waiting for me somewhere one day. But right now, as a heathen living in this world, living in Midgard, heaven is all around me. My ancestors are all around me. They're buried within this earth. They're a part of this earth. And that's enough to tell me to respect it and, take in all the majesty that goes along with it. Appreciate the question. Hope my answer was decent or at least somewhat knowledgeable for others to start to understand.
And so now moving around to other people, friends of mine who are on vacation, here's Wyatt Chestnut in the beautiful state of Tennessee with his thoughts about what heathenry is and what it means to him.
Heathenry as a religion, if that's what you call it, or a faith, is a practice that values hard work. It's a faith that values working together with your community, working together with other people. It's not so much about believing the right thing or knowing the right thing. It's doing what's right for your community. It's the rightness of action more than the rightness of belief. Heathenry to me is a faith that values community. We're not meant to exist in a vacuum. We're meant to build connections to other people. We're meant to work together with others. We're meant to work in a community. Heathenry is a communal religion, a communal faith. It's not meant to be practiced alone. To me, heathenry is a connection to the land. Just as our ancestors who used to be called heathen were people of the land. They tilled the land. They lived in the land. So it's a connection to nature. It's a connection to the spirits of the land. The connection to the ancestors through that connection to the nature. We connect with our ancestors with the past. The actions of our ancestors led to where we are today. So going back to those roots, going back to the past that our ancestors walked, gives us that connection to where we are now. And then it's the connection to the gods. We connect to the gods through our connection, honoring the spirits of the land, honoring our ancestors. By doing that, we honor the gods. We don't honor the gods in a vacuum. We honor the gods through the ancestors. We honor the gods through the spirits of the land, through the spirits all around us. That's heathenry.
So we've presented a variety of viewpoints from different people on what heathenry is and what it means to them. But I think the theme that you're going to come away with is that heathenry is not in these books up here. It's in your heart and it's outside. So get out there with your heathen friends in the outdoors, get into nature, and do heathen stuff. Skål, y'all.